Hi there, my name's Nick Bradley and I've just got my information back from the GSA, this remarkable device developed with an amazing accelerometer and system in here. So now I've got my advice. I'm now going to start to work on my golf swing and look at some of the components that the GSA has given me, such as my swing path and my club face orientation to that path and my swing speed, a whole potpourri of kind of like information. Irrespective of what the device gives me feedback-wise, I've got to know a sequence, an order, if you will, in which to fix my golf swing. So what we're going to cover now is number one is your hold on the club, your grip. The grip serves two main key things. Number one, it really does control a lot of the club face orientation in the swing. We now know that the ball's profile is almost 85% determined by the club face direction or pointing at impact position. So if you think the club face is not important, think again. So point number one, the grip really does control the club face orientation and directional movement. Number two, it also provides a base or a capacity for leverage. What does leverage mean? Leverage means speed and distance, okay? All of these factors, the GSA feeds back to you information-wise. So let's look at the couple of key things for your grip as you assemble it, because it really is, golf does start with a good grip. So number one, I'd like to show you this little diagram that I've drawn on my glove, which basically indicates where the club is held in the palm of the hand. This is more pertinently to do with the leverage, okay? You get more angular momentum, more angle here coming into the ball, okay? You're going to have more speed with the club head. What I find in my teaching is that a lot of golfers actually grip the club far too much in the palm of the left hand, and what that does is it intersects a joint here in the wrist called the capitate joint, and from here there's very little mobility in that left hand, in the glove hand. Okay, so from here we're not going to be able to create any acute angle which will be able to undeliver or deliver into the ball. So the first thing I want you to do is, when you're assembling your grip, make sure that you hold the club somewhat out in front of you where there's no mystery, okay? It's right in front of your eyes. You're going to raise your left hand and you're going to make sure that you're nestling that handle of the club into the fingers. Now let me give you one nice little piece of advice here. As that handle goes in, actually push the shaft away from you like this, and you can start to really nestle it into the fingers. So as soon as that handle goes in and the hand wraps around, okay, push the handle into the fingers there, and you know you've got a golf club that's held in the right position in the hands. Now we have the ability to swish and hinge our hands back, hinge the club here, set the club and reset it through. You can hear the speed through that leverage it can develop. Okay, if it's held in the palm, there's going to be no hinging, okay, there's going to be no speed. So that's the first thing, hold the club in the base of the palm and in the fingers for better leverage. Number two, okay, the club face here. Okay, this is obviously closed, this is a ball that's going to go left, this is open, this is a ball that's going to go right. We need that leading edge here to be up at 12 o'clock. So a great way to do this is to introduce the club and the handle at the same angle that your hand hangs from the body. You can see the hand doesn't hang this way, or it's not too inverted, it's almost at a 45-degree angle here. So simply have the club in coming at 2 o'clock, raise the glove hand up and place it once again in the fingers, but it can just settle onto the handle of the golf club there, and there we go. As I'm looking down here, two factors I want you to look for is two knuckles of the left hand, or about half of the back of the left hand, okay? So follow those two pieces of advice there about the left hand. They'll create leverage and they'll create directional control with the club face. So now we've got the left hand positioned correctly on the handle of the golf club. It's now the positioning of the right hand. The right hand really has created or stepped into two really important roles in fixing this grip on. Number one, as we've already seen, the right hand delivers the club in from the right angle, making sure that this natural hanging angle of the hand represents the club face. And number two, we've allowed it to push the shaft away from us this way to make sure the handle goes into the base of the palm and in the fingers. Now, I don't really care, to be honest with you, whether you interlock the fingers, whether you overlap, or you 10-finger. The most important part of the grip is how this thumb here actually nestles in to the palm of the right hand. Okay, this is the most important docking procedure in the grip. Once again, how this right hand, the lifeline here, okay, which is created by that little pad under the thumb, okay, that is nestled on top of that thumb, and that is the docking procedure between the two hands, the most important docking procedure between the two hands. Once again, a couple of little checkpoints. If I can see half of the back of the left hand, I want to see half of the back of the right hand as I'm looking down. I don't want to see all fingers or all back of the left hand. I need equilibrium between the two hands there. If we have that, that is good. One last thing that the GSA would relay to you. If you have imbalance in your hands, your club face is going to be all, you know, it's going to be shut, or it's going to be open, or it's going to be neutral. Subconsciously, just to let you know, you will know whether that club is in balance or out of balance with the club face orientation, and certain compensations will or will not occur as a result. So really, finding your grip, which is naturally formed and then neutrally performed, is the first stage in you getting your golf swing correct. And the GSA can monitor all of that for you. You know, I've just hit some shots with the GSA working. I've got my feedback from the phone there, and it still says, even though I've got a great grip now, which I covered in the previous section, still says I've got some quirky things going on. Sometimes I come this way, sometimes I come that way. The club face is a little funky. So, you know, what's the next step in building your golf swing so you can start to eliminate any of these inconsistencies that you might be going through? So obviously one of the big things is, once you've got kind of like the relationship, the marrying up between the hands and the club face, once you've got that going for you, okay, now we need to really dial into the target a bit more. So I've got a couple of lines here. This line here with the string is representing our ball to target line, and I've just got one of these alignment devices here that everyone's got in their bags now, just to stick on the ground. Now, ideally, what we'd like to do is aim parallel left of our target line, okay? Unlike many other sports, like, for example, shooting a gun or a bow and arrow, okay, we actually have to stand to the side of the golf ball to hit it straight. So it really is kind of like a railway track analogy there. Where problems occur is where the club face may go down, kind of like at the target, okay, and then what happens is we then aim our body at the target too, okay? So we kind of like we are now converging those two lines. This is a problem, because now what's going to happen is our body will either do one of two things. It will either say, hey, you know what, the target's left, so I'm going to come over and try and start the ball this way, okay, closing the club face down, or it's actually depending on the body motion and the swing itself, or actually might start to work out that way, and then the face stays open, the ball starts right, and then you blow it right off the golf course. So what we've got to look at here is really the relationship between the knees, the feet and the knees, the hips, okay, and the shoulders. And there's a very slight difference here, by the way, between woods and irons. I'll grab my driver in a minute and I'll go through that. So really, the best way to get your swing started off in the right way is to make sure that you don't need a string like this. I've just done this for demonstration purposes, but you can certainly put another club down behind the ball, looking at the ball and your intended target. That's a good way to do it. But what we want to do is initially is to make sure that we have the face at 90 degrees to this target line, and then we have the feet, the knees and the hips parallel to that, but obviously left of it. Remember, we're going to shoot the ball down this line. It is to the right of us or out in front of us. Now here's the little subtlety difference between an iron and a wood, and that is this: with an iron, okay, we are going to be wanting to come down through the ball and actually have the shoulders a little bit open, okay, as we hit the ball and compress it. That is a shift and a turn onto the ball. Now to slightly preset that, when we stand to the golf ball here with an iron, okay, we actually want the shoulders slightly open to all of these parallel lines. Now we're in a position to replicate, okay, where we want to do, the club can start to work back inside on its path after we've hit the golf ball. So what I like to see in my students is parallel feet, knees, hips, but with the shoulders, have them very slightly open to the target line with an iron. Now a way that you can practice this is simply get both hands out in front of you, put the right hand on top of the left thumb and just go down onto the ball like this. You can see that my right arm is slightly higher than my left, okay, and I'm in a great position here to actually compress the ball with a turn and a shift onto it. With a driver it's slightly different because we certainly have a lot more speed in this swing and a lot more time. So let's parallel everything out a little bit. We don't want such a descending blow onto it like we do with an iron to get that compression. So this really is the only time I would like to see your feet, knees, hips and shoulders and forearms actually now all parallel out. Okay, so with an iron there's a subtle difference here. The right shoulder feels a bit higher, you're almost a little bit preset, and with a wood, feet, knees, hips, shoulders are parallel to that, and the forearms too. Even with the GSA, they're working for us and giving us all this great feedback with swing path, club face, angle of attack and speed. You still need to adopt these great habits to improve your golf. So simply don't go to a driving range, put a few balls down, think and assume that you're aiming at the target. No, just take 30 seconds of your time to pick 2 golf clubs that you're not going to use, put one pointing at the ball to your intended target, put another one down here which is representing the body lines. Now you can fire as many balls as you like to your heart's content, knowing that now you have a great grip and you have great body alignment in respect to the target working for you.